what if a small town could have two faces? In Montana, there are towns so remote that even cell signals are hard to find, and others that were once booming but have now become ghost towns. Some are unique with their own charm, while others are struggling through economic hardship and painful history. Today, we're taking a trip through 15 of the most remote, worst, most unique, and abandoned ghost towns in Montana, from the silence of Bannack to the challenges in Browning and the hidden tragedy in Libby. First up is Bannack, founded in 1862 during the height of the Montana Gold Rush. Thousands of miners flocked here, and it even became the first capital of Montana. But that glory didn't last. Gold ran out quickly, and people moved on to the next big strike. Today, Bannack is a true ghost town, frozen in time. More than 50 wooden buildings still stand, from schools and hotels to old saloons. There's no electricity, no engine noise, just the wind whistling through aging wooden boards. Even so, Bannack isn't completely dead. Montana State Parks maintains it as Bannack State Park, and each year there's a festival that lets visitors experience what it's like to live in a dead cowboy town. If Bannack felt like the gateway to Montana's ghost towns, Garnet is the next chapter, and it's just as dramatic. This town was born in the late 1890s, also because of gold. But Garnet was livelier. There were hotels, saloons, shops, even a dance hall where miners unwound after long days in the dark tunnels. At its peak, over 1,000 people lived here. But like most mining stories, the gold didn't last. As the veins dried up, people slowly left. By the 1940s, the town was nearly empty. The wooden buildings, however, remain incredibly well preserved, as if time simply stopped. If Bannack and Garnet ended in total silence, Virginia City is half alive, half ghost, a rare blend for a former mining town. Founded in 1863, it once sat at the heart of Montana's gold fever. The population exploded to thousands in just months. Streets were packed with saloons, shops, and the hustle typical of a frontier boomtown. But like always, when the gold faded, people left, leaving behind dusty roads and wooden buildings. What makes Virginia City different is that it never fully died. To this day, about 257 residents still call it home. It's now like a living museum, with preserved 19th century buildings, guided tours, and even summer theater performances. Next is Elkhorn. This small town was born in the late 1800s because of silver, not gold. At first, Elkhorn was booming. Thousands of miners lived here. But the town's fate turned tragic. Not only did the silver mines decline, but in 1888, a diphtheria epidemic struck, claiming many lives, especially children. After that, people left even faster. By the early 1900s, Elkhorn had already become a ghost town. What makes Elkhorn fascinating is that several of its main buildings are still standing. especially Fraternity Hall and Gilmore Hall, two large wooden landmarks that make the town feel like an empty stage in the middle of the mountains. Then there's a town that used to be lively, once home to thousands of Air Force families. Now it looks more like a horror movie set. This is Ste. Marie. The town was built in the 1950s to house personnel from Glasgow Air Force Base. But when the base closed in 1976, Ste. Marie lost its lifeblood overnight. At one point, a Canadian investor bought up property here, planning to turn it into a new community. But the plan completely fell apart, leaving behind rows of abandoned buildings. Today, while a few hundred people still live here, the streets of Ste. Marie feel deserted, with boarded-up windows and empty homes. Its current population? Just 469 people. After diving into Montana's ghost towns, let's shift into the remote category, starting with Yaak. Tucked away in a valley in northwestern Montana, right near the Canadian border, Yaak is surrounded by the wilderness of Kootenay National Forest. The population? Less than 400. The roads here are winding, phone signals are weak, and the winters are harsh enough to make anyone think twice about staying long. Still, Yaak has a unique appeal. Many come here to disappear from the world, whether they're seeking peace, a life close to nature, or simply want to escape the noise of city life. Heading far out to the southeastern corner of the state, we arrive in Ekalaka. With only 416 residents, it serves as the seat of Carter County, one of the most sparsely populated counties in all of America. Getting here isn't easy. It's far from the interstate, the roads are winding, and public transportation is minimal. No wonder the town is often called the middle of nowhere. But don't be fooled, Ekalaka has a treasure of its own. The Carter County Museum holds an impressive collection of legendary dinosaur fossils, from T-Rex to Triceratops. So even though the town is small and remote, it carries stories far older than humanity itself. Moving southwest, we stop in Wisdom. The name may sound peaceful, but life here is anything but easy. The population is less than 150 people, and it sits in the Big Hole Valley, often nicknamed the Valley of 10,000 Haystacks. This place is surrounded by wide-open fields and beautiful mountains, but it's also known for its brutal winters. Temperatures can drop far below zero, making life here truly about survival. Wisdom is quiet, hard to access, and nearly everything revolves around agriculture and a small, close-knit community. Even so, it has its own charm: clear night skies, fresh air, and a kind of peace that's almost impossible to find in big cities. Then there's Ovando, a tiny town in western Montana that's almost invisible on the map. The population? Just around 55 people. Its main street is short. There's a small general store, a simple cafe, and a post office. And that's about it. But despite looking ordinary, Ovando is a favorite stop for adventurers. Cyclists riding the Great Divide mountain bike route often pass through, and the locals are famously welcoming. Ovando is also known for its creative way of hosting visitors. There's even a story about the town offering tents, a teepee, and even a chicken coop as places to sleep. Earlier, we talked about remote towns, so quiet they make you forget the world. Now, let's move into the worst struggling towns category, starting with Browning. Browning is the center of the Blackfeet Nation in northern Montana, with a population of about 1,000 people. From the outside, it may look like any other small town, but the reality is tough. The poverty rate here is very high. Over 30% of residents live below the poverty line. Unemployment is a constant issue, and health care and education services are limited. Long, harsh winters make life even harder, while economic opportunities outside of government and public service sectors are nearly non-existent. Many reports highlight ongoing social issues such as mental health challenges and a serious lack of access to basic services. Browning is often described as a town that's struggling to survive. Next is Hardin, a small town in Bighorn County that offers both natural beauty and daily challenges. In 2025, Hardin's population was around 3,600 people. But life in Hardin isn't as smooth as in other areas. About 18 to 19% of the population lives below the poverty line, well above the Montana average. The median household income is around $60,463, which is lower than the state average. Hardin sits right next to the Crow Indian Reservation, which only highlights the town's social contrast. Some areas are relatively stable, while others face serious issues with poverty, limited access to health care, and underfunded schools. After leaving Hardin, we head northeast to Wolf Point. It's not a large town. The population in 2025 was around 2,400 people. The median age here is young, about 32 years, but the future often feels uncertain. The median household income in Wolf Point is only around $48,750, far below the state average. The reality, 1 in 4 people here lives below the poverty line. Many residents don't have stable jobs, and for much of the Native American community in the area, the struggles are doubled. Discrimination, limited access to health care and education, and long distances to essential services are constant barriers. Homes here are small and relatively cheap compared to other towns in Montana. Average home prices range from $100,000 to $125,000. After all those struggling towns that tug at the heart, let's shift to something a little brighter. Philipsburg, or P-burg as it's often called, is a tiny town in western Montana with a population of just around 956 people as of 2025. At first glance, it might look like just another mountain town, but Philipsburg has a charm that sets it apart. Its main street is lined with beautifully restored Victorian-style buildings, like a living set from a classic Western film. It's also home to a legendary gem store where visitors can mine their own Montana sapphires. That unique experience has made this small town famous, even internationally. If Philipsburg thrives on its sapphires and Victorian architecture, Big Timber has a story of its own. This small town has about 1,700 residents as of 2025. It sits at the junction of the Boulder River and the Yellowstone River, surrounded by wide open plains with the crazy mountains in the distance. That's where its nickname comes from, the gateway to Montana's wilderness. Big Timber is also known for its strong ranching and rodeo culture, a classic image of Montana that people often picture when they think of the Wild West. Uniquely, despite its size, Big Timber is a popular stop for tourists curious about cowboy history, as well as writers and artists looking for inspiration. While Big Timber gives off a light country vibe, Libby brings a different kind of story. This small town in northwestern Montana was once known for its stunning views in the Kootenai Valley, but its history left a deep scar. For decades, the vermiculite mine here was contaminated with asbestos. The impact was devastating. Thousands of residents developed lung-related illnesses, and the town was later named one of the worst environmental health disasters in U.S. history. Today, Libby is still recovering. Even though it's surrounded by beautiful forests and rivers, the shadow of its past hasn't completely faded. The town now stands as a reminder that even the most beautiful places can hide a darker story beneath the surface.